Did you know that in 2023, you need a hefty $2.2 million to be considered wealthy? But get this, nearly half, 48% of people consider themselves wealthy. And guess what? The average net worth of those is just $560,000. And not surprisingly, more and more Americans are now putting well-being ahead of money when it comes to measuring wealth. But I think there might be some flaws in this data. The major one being the fact that a $2.2 million net worth also assumes that somebody has worked out the entire 45 years of their estimated working career. And if you assume that the people who have that level of net worth are nearing retirement, and then you start to work back exactly how much money they would have needed to invest per month in order to accumulate that amount of money, the reality is it's not that hard to get there. So in today's video, I want to take you through the Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey, and I want to show you exactly how much money you need by age in order to be considered wealthy. And I'm also going to show you how a little bit of planning can help you get there very easily. Yes, I'm going to make the bold claim right now that getting to a $2.2 million net worth by the time you retire is easy. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you exactly how. But before we get into it, my name is Nolan Matthias, and I'm your friendly economist. ChatGPT told me to say that.
You have to be kidding me!
And if you want to thrive financially, this is the place for you. So do me a favor, if at the end of this video you feel like you got some value, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button so more people like you can see this video. Okay, so let's jump into the Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey. And this is a survey that's conducted on an annual basis, and it's designed to create a snapshot of how Americans are viewing wealth in any given year. And this year it's quite interesting because there has been a shift in what it means for Americans to be wealthy, or at least feel wealthy. And I'll do a little foreshadowing here, it's not just money anymore. Most Americans now say that in order to be wealthy, you need a net worth of $2.2 million. However, 48% of the respondents to the survey who gave that $2.2 million number claim to feel wealthy themselves. However, even though they believe that $2.2 million is the amount of money you need to be wealthy, the average net worth of those who claim to feel wealthy is only $560,000. So the question is, where's the discrepancy here? And I believe it is in the fact that the respondents believe that the question was, how much do you need to be wealthy from the perspective of the amount of money you would need at retirement age? And I believe that in this day and age, that most Gen Zers, most Millennials, and most Gen Xers believe that wealth isn't just the amount of money that you may have in your bank account today, but it is a journey and a path to financial freedom. And while you may not be at that $2.2 million goal yet, you may be on the path to get there. Which is why at the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how much money you need to have by age in order to hit that $2.2 million target, as well as how much money you actually need to save in order to get there. Now, what's interesting is that 57% of millennials actually feel wealthy today. Now, there could be several reasons for this, but I do feel as though social media is playing a major part in that. However, Gen Xers and Boomers are not so optimistic, and for some reason, neither is Gen Z. But what's even more interesting is that for some reason, millennials have a significantly higher net worth if they claim to feel wealthy. That net worth being $531,000, which provides a pretty significant path forward with respect to saving for retirement. And perhaps this goes to show that millennials have learned a little bit from their parents about saving money. But what's really shocking here is that only 35% of people have a financial plan. And a financial plan is so easy to set up. It's as simple as selecting a small amount of money to put aside every single month and then putting it aside into a simple ETF that tracks the S&P 500. That's all you need for a financial plan, is to make sure you're putting money away on a regular basis and then actually doing it. And this can be automated. It's simple. And it turns out that of those who have a financial plan, 92% actually believe they are going to hit their goals. The reason why is because they have a plan, a destination, and they're probably going to execute it. But my bigger concern is that 65% of people do not have a financial plan at all. And this is the equivalent of taking a trip without a final destination. If you don't intend to end up somewhere, you will end up nowhere, which means that 65% of people are likely on a path to not being able to retire at any point in their future. And what's even scarier is that the number one reason that people don't have a financial plan is because they don't think they have enough money to have one. And of course, they don't have enough money to need a financial plan because if they don't have a financial plan, they won't have enough money. It's the cart before the horse scenario. They're thinking they'll get a plan when they have money, but they need a plan to get the money. And then the other barriers to financial planning just make no sense at all. Seems too complicated to create a plan? I'll show you exactly how to do that in less than 5 minutes at the end of the video. Don't have enough time to develop one? It takes 5 minutes. Haven't had a major life event that requires planning? Well, guess what? At some point, you're going to have a major life event, so you should probably think about planning for it now rather than down the road when you realize that you should have had a plan. Oh, and by the way, did I mention it only takes 5 minutes? And it's probably too expensive to get help creating a plan? Hey, you're watching this video for the low cost of hitting the like and the subscribe button. Now, before I get into showing you how to create that plan, I want to point something out. Because 40% of people are now putting well-being ahead of money when it comes to defining wealth. And I'll tell you right now, taking 5 minutes in order to create a plan to put a small amount of money away so that you have it down the road is probably the fastest way that you can create a better well-being by making sure that you don't have to worry about money in the future. And I'm not talking about taking a significant amount of your income and chunking it away. I'm talking about taking a small amount of money starting at an early age or as early as humanly possible, which means today. And on top of that, having a plan and having money set aside is the thing that will allow you to have the time to do what you want to do in the future and more or less for the rest of your life. And again, if 61% of people are saying that having time is more important than having money, well, I hate to break it to you, having money will allow you to have the time that you want in the future. And it's so simple. So with all that said, let's talk about what it means to actually get to the point where you have $2.2 million available for you at the time of retirement. And this is so simple to figure out. All you do is find a compound interest calculator. The one for this example that I'm using is from bankrate.com. And we're going to make some assumptions here. We're going to start by assuming that you have a 45-year window in order to get to that $2.2 million net worth number. We're also going to assume that the average rate of return is 11.88%, which is the average rate of return for the S&P 500. And in order to get this return, all you do is go and find an S&P 500 ETF that is a low-cost ETF, like the Vanguard VOO fund, and simply start investing in that on a monthly basis. In fact, you can use an app like Passive to pretty much automate this process. All you have to do is push a button once a month in order to allocate the funds. And then this is where it gets really interesting, because over a 45-year time horizon, all you had to put away on a monthly basis was $141 per month in order to get to that $2.2 million target net worth, which, as you probably realize, is a pretty insignificant amount of money. Now, this gives you that target net worth for the age of 65, which is the average retirement age. But let's back this out and see how much money you would need at various ages in order to be on track to get to that total net worth. So in order to get to that $2.2 million number, at age 55, so with 35 years of saving, you only need $710,000 in the bank. So if you're 55 and you've got a $710,000 net worth, you're on track to get to that $2.2 million number, and you'd also be considered wealthy, at least in the standard set by the Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey. And then if you're 45 years old, here's how much money you would need. It's $221,000. $221,000 today puts you on track for a $2.2 million net worth at 65. And at the age of 35, guess what? You only need $62,470. Now, here's the thing. Let's assume that you were early on in this process. You were watching this video, you're 20 years old right now. And let's say that $141 seemed a little light to you, because it is. Well, what would happen if you increase the amount of savings to $250 per month, or $500 per month, or $1,000 per month? Well, as you can see, it's pretty easy to create a substantial amount of money over time if you just automate your savings and start putting money away now. And this is so simple to do. Set up your bank account so that you're taking money and putting it aside automatically every single month. Whether that's $100, $250, $300, have it automatically deducted from your checking account and put into an investment account. Then have that money automatically invested in something like an S&P 500 tracking fund. And as long as you never turn the system off, you will with certainty generate a substantial amount of net worth over your lifetime. But what's important is that you act as soon as possible in order to set something like this up, and that you stick with it for the rest of your life. And if you do that, when Charles Schwab phones you in order to determine if you feel like you're wealthy, the answer will be a resounding yes, both from a time perspective, a well-being perspective, and from a money perspective. And if you want to watch more videos on how to get ahead of 99% of people, make sure you check out this video right here.